She was a young mother, devoted to her family.
She was a provider, a protector.
She was a person that gave her all.
There's nothing that she would not do for her child.
But there was one thing missing.
She wanted to be loved.
She thought the time clock was ticking away.
Until she met the man of her dreams.
She thought he was actually the one.
She was really excited.
They began to talk marriage.
But would wedding bells ring?
It was very, very hard to even grasp what was going on. I didn't know what to think, who to believe, what to trust.
Or was there more to this love story than anyone knew?
You're dealing with someone that has a controlling personality that was living this double life.
Take this.
And the truth is gonna hit closer to home than you think.
You know this gentleman?
July 11th, 2011. It's a quiet Monday in River Forest, Illinois, an upscale suburb on Chicago's north side.
River Forest, Illinois, is one of the wealthiest suburbs in the Chicagoland area.
It's just a beautiful town in the middle of a really otherwise urban surrounding area.
People come from the other communities around us to walk, to jog. We're really just known as a safe community.
But this affluent community is about to be rocked by a shocking crime.
Oh my God!
Around 10 p.m., the police got a frantic 911 call.
911, what's the industry emergency? What's the address?
The caller is 39-year-old Devin Bickham Sr.
He was absolutely distraught. He was hysterical, he was crying, he was screaming.
Eventually, he managed to tell the dispatcher that he was calling from a popular park in River Forest.
What is going on?
The victim is 29-year-old Chervon Alexander.
Mr. Bickham stated that they were sitting in their vehicle when a guy ran up to them and shot at the car.
Who shot your girlfriend? Oh God!
Devin said it all happened very fast, and he didn't get a good look at the shooter.
Is your girlfriend breathing?
He just kept repeating that she was gone.
Okay, we're gonna send help you, okay?
For Chicago native Chervon Alexander, family was always number one.
We did a lot of things together. We had a lot of fun. We would laugh a lot.
She was just joyful. She loved family. She truly loved family.
She was always such a happy person, lovable person.
But Chervon also had a serious side.
She was interested in law enforcement.
She went to college. She got her associates in criminal justice, and then she went on and got a bachelor's in criminal justice.
She wanted to make a difference.
However, despite her academic success, Chervon considered her greatest achievement in life to be her 9-year-old daughter, Ayanna.
Ayanna, that was the joy of her life.
She was like a best friend. She was a hero. To have someone like that in your life, you could be very lucky. She was a provider, a protector, an individual that just was selfless and always there for me.
Chervon was a wonderful mom. She was a loving mom.
It hadn't always been easy, though, since Chervon and Ayanna's father were no longer together.
She believed she found love for a while, but it was young, so it wasn't nothing stable enough for her to keep for the long run.
She was looking for love. She wanted to settle down.
And in 2010, Chervon met a man who promised to make all her dreams come true, Devin Bickham Sr.
He was an ex-Chicago police officer.
He was also an entrepreneur.
Devin had a business delivering furniture for several big retailers.
And he knew how to treat a lady.
You look great.
Thank you. So where are we going tonight?
It's a surprise.
They would have nights out on the town, just really enjoy each other.
Siobhan found her Prince Charming. He swept her off her feet.
She loved him so dearly.
Devin also made it clear that he was more than willing to become a father figure to Siobhan's little girl.
He tried to build a relationship with her daughter.
Hey!
It was pretty cool. He would want myself to call him Dad.
Devin had an older son from a previous relationship, so he wasn't new to the whole dad thing.
Devin Sr., he would bring him around. They all play basketball together.
Hey, Ayana. How you doing, pretty girl?
I think they'll get along.
So I hear you like to play basketball.
He was such a kind person whenever I was around him. That was the brother I never had, seriously.
In fact, Devin and his son were such a welcome addition to the family that in just 6 months, Devin and Siobhan were engaged.
They were talking about who's going to be the bridesmaids, what their colors was going to be and everything.
I was glad for her because I felt if anyone deserved true love, she did.
But now, Siobhan may never walk down the aisle.
Devin had just called 911 to report Siobhan had just been shot while sitting in their car at a park in River Forest.
Waiting for police to arrive, Devin dials Siobhan's mother. But it's Ayana who picks up the phone.
Hello? My grandma and I were at the table playing cards, and he calls saying, "Your mom has gotten shot." And originally, I just took it like, stop playing. He said it again, and at that moment, it just felt so surreal.
Hello? Slow down, Devin.
Devin was, crying hysterically.
Just sound delirious,
What?
Eventually, the message came through.
By then, I knew it was real.
When first responders arrive at the scene, Devin is still in a panic.
When I first arrived on scene, I saw Devin 𝐷𝐃𝐄 Sr. screaming frantically and on the phone.
The police found Miss Alexander in the passenger seat with multiple gunshot wounds.
However, contrary to what Devin told the dispatcher, Siobhan isn't dead.
She was actually still clinging on to life. There was still hope that Siobhan would make it.
But while EMTs race Siobhan to the hospital, will detectives be able to piece together what happened?
No one was prepared for what they'd uncovered.
It was terrifying.
And it probably became one of the more bizarre cases that our agency has investigated.
7 months into their whirlwind relationship, Devin 𝐷𝐃𝐄 and Siobhan Alexander were planning a wedding.
She did express to me that he loved her and that she loved him and that she was ready to settle down.
Looked like to me we was getting ready to get us a wedding going.
But will the happy couple ever say, "I do"? At 10 o'clock on the evening of July 11th, 2011, Devin makes a panic-stricken 911 call from a suburban Chicago park.
Your girlfriend got shot?
When the emergency crew got there, they get her loaded up and go to the hospital.
While the ambulance rushes Siobhan to the emergency room, detectives arrive and pull Devin aside for a brief statement.
As soon as we arrived at the park, we started to coordinate information from Devin 𝐷𝐃𝐄 Sr.
Still extremely distraught, Devin tries to walk detectives through what happened.
We were just having dinner with the family, man. We just wanted some alone time.
They decided they were going to go to the park just to talk.
They've been to that location before. The park over there is extremely safe. The neighborhood's extremely safe. And of course, it'd be a great location if you wanted to sit there and talk with someone and not worry about being bothered.
But even the safest place can be dangerous.
Once they were at the park, Devin Sr. said that they were talking briefly, and that's when they noticed someone in the bushes.
What is he doing over there?
I don't know. We should probably leave.
While they were talking, a African-American male in a white shirt jumped out of the bushes.
And according to Devin, the man had a gun.
Get down! Get down!
He fired multiple rounds into the vehicle, which struck Siobhan Alexander.
Mr. Bickham said that he rolled out of the driver's side onto the ground to avoid being shot.
Devin says that when the gunfire stopped, he jumped up and chased after the assailant.
Even though Devin wasn't armed, he was a former cop, and chasing after a suspect was still kind of a reflex.
Devin never caught up to the suspect, but was able to give detectives a general description.
He said the gunman jumped in the passenger side of a gray sedan and sped off.
It was last seen going south, so that information was relayed over the radio to other officers in the area.
Then, as the gunman and his driver sped away, Devin had turned his attention back to Siobhan.
Oh my God!
When Mr. Bickham returned to the vehicle, he was absolutely positively sure that Miss Alexander was dead. And that's when he made the 911 phone call.
911, what's your emergency?
Detectives have little reason to doubt Devin's story.
The parking spots where the vehicle was parked was not well lit at all at the time, and really someone would have been able to run up and ambush the car very easily.
He would be obstructed from any view from the street.
His story also fits the evidence detectives find at the scene.
They recovered several shell casings.
Fired by a .380 automatic, they're on the ground outside the passenger side window.
They found the casings exactly where Devin said the shooter had been standing.
But that's not all that confirms Devin's account of the shooting.
We were able to locate a couple of witnesses who were actually inside of the park. They were 2 juveniles.
They hadn't seen the shooting, but they did hear it.
The teenagers said they were hanging out at the park, and all of a sudden they heard 3 or 4 bangs.
In fact, one of the teens had called 911 almost at the same time as Devin Bickham.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, I'm at Priory Park in River Forest, and someone just got shot.
Okay, slow down. Did you see the person that shot her?
We saw someone run.
The teenagers said they saw a African-American male running down the parking lot.
Did you see what kind of a gun he had?
I didn't see anything on him.
They went to go see what it was, and they discovered a man on the phone crying.
His man was just screaming saying his girlfriend got shot.
The man that the teenagers did find crying was Mr. Bickham.
The teen's story had basically confirmed everything that Devin told detectives.
But the biggest confirmation comes less than a half-mile away.
After Devin Bickham gave the description of the vehicle and of the offenders, that car was stopped about 12 blocks away.
Inside were 2 males, and those 2 males were wearing white shirts.
The occupants were taken out of the vehicle.
Is one of them the shooter? While searching the vehicle, officers find a gun.
That gun was located underneath the seat.
The firearm itself, it was a Lorsen .380, the same caliber as evidence found at the scene.
It looked like the case was basically solved.
All detectives need is one final confirmation.
We transported Devin Bickham to the area of Harlem and Madison, just north of Madison Street, to identify the 2 individuals.
Do you recognize either of these as a shooter?
I don't know. It just happened all so fast.
But then, as the officers begin to haul the suspects away, Devin tells them to wait.
You recognize one of them?
Devin said it wasn't because he was the shooter.
Mr. Bickham revealed to them that one of the two suspects was actually his son.
That's my son.
In 2011, Chicago was one of the deadliest big cities in America, with more homicides per capita than Los Angeles and New York City. However, neighboring River Forest is considered one of the safest cities in the metro region, with 1/9 the violent crime rate of Chicago.
Hold on.
Devin Bickham Sr. has just revealed to detectives that one of the men they suspect of shooting his girlfriend, 𝐅𝐔𝐋 Alexander, is actually his son, Devin Jr.
Obviously, this is like a big shock to the police officers.
And it wasn't a random act of violence. I had Devin Bickham Sr. as the caller, and Devin Bickham Jr. was pulled over. That obviously that there was a relationship between the two.
Do you know this gentleman?
Devin also identifies the other man as 35-year-old 𝐅𝐔𝐋 Taylor.
Detectives had wondered why Devin didn't say he knew the men in the first place.
That definitely raised a lot of red flags for us, that he failed to initially identify his own son and the other subject, Mr. Taylor, at the scene when the officers had brought him there.
Was it simply shock at the sudden realization that his son might be involved?
Up to that point, detectives hadn't had any reason to doubt Devin's story.
He's the one who provided the description of the male offender and said that he was wearing a white t-shirt, left in a silver car.
Basically, if it wasn't for Devin Sr., the police never would have pulled his son over in the first place.
It's just such a coincidence that the males they were looking for happened to be related to him.
Then, as detectives put DJ and 𝐅𝐔𝐋 into the back of a squad car to bring them in for questioning, they get an unsolicited clue.
Police officers hear 𝐅𝐔𝐋 tell DJ that he wanted his money.
Yo, when I'm gonna get my money, playboy? When are you gonna pay me? Can I get the rest of my money?
They could be possibly dealing with a murder for hire.
While officers drive Devin Sr. and the two suspects to the station for formal statements, 𝐅𝐔𝐋's family races to the hospital.
Officers had called 𝐅𝐔𝐋's next of kin to tell them where they were transporting her.
I sped and rushed down there as fast as I could.
So when I finally got to the emergency entrance to where they had taken her, I noticed that Darius had made it there.
What I can remember is I asked the doctor, is she going to be okay? I remember he shook his head, and I broke down and started crying.
𝐅𝐔𝐋 was pronounced dead shortly after her arrival to the hospital.
My mind at the time, I couldn't believe it. But I'm thinking this has got to be a big joke, you know. I couldn't actually believe that my daughter was gone.
The family has barely had time to process the news when detectives arrive.
By the time I arrived at the emergency room, she had already been pronounced dead.
While 𝐅𝐔𝐋's brother comforts their mom, her cousin steps up to answer some questions for detectives.
He was upset, understandably so. I let him know that we would do everything we could to get to the bottom of whoever was responsible for her death.
I appreciate that.
He really wanted to catch the guy who did this.
Although at that point, he knew even less about the shooting than the detectives.
He told my aunt that he chased after the guy.
Devin had called her and told her someone came out of the bushes and they shot 𝐅𝐿 several times.
Devin's statements were all very consistent.
However, according to 𝐅𝐿's cousin, there's one thing Devin hasn't told detectives.
Devin was actually married.
So there's an ex-wife?
Not exactly.
He said that 𝐅𝐿 had recently found out that her fiancé was actually still married.
I didn't know he was actually married till later on in the relationship. It was just very upsetting to me.
But now detectives wonder, Was anyone else upset about what appears to be a love triangle between Chervon, Devin, and his wife?
When officers were bringing Cardell in, he made a strange statement to DJ about wanting his payment.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my money, playboy.
They're already suspicious that Chervon's death was a murder for hire. And Devin Sr.'s wife would have an obvious motive.
It could have been a domestic issue. It could have been the wife who found out about this affair.
Thank you for your time.
Hoping to learn more about Devin's marriage, detectives head to the station to get his formal statement.
When they told Devin that Chervon was dead, he appeared very shaken by the news.
Devin also seems eager to help detectives find out who's behind Chervon's murder.
The first question was about his marriage, and Mr. Bickham did not deny that he was married.
How long have you been married? 12 years.
He was pretty forthcoming about that.
Devin says he'd been just as forthcoming with Chervon.
Chervon knew all about the marriage.
You want to be with her? Yes.
However, he did say that his wife was not aware of his relationship with Chervon.
I hadn't told her definitely yet.
But according to Devin, she was about to find out.
He had been planning on divorcing his wife.
Hours after she was shot to death in a suburban Chicago park, Chervon Alexander's fiancé, Devin Bickham Sr., has just told detectives that he was planning to leave his wife in order to marry Chervon.
We'll set a date to have a small wedding.
But according to Devin, his wife, 32-year-old Tammy Denton, was still in the dark.
Yeah, I hadn't told her definitely yet.
Mr. Bickham stated to the officers that he was for sure that his wife Tammy knew nothing about him and Miss Alexander's relationship.
But now that Chervon is dead, detectives aren't so sure.
Tammy could have gotten wind of Devin's affair and decided to save her marriage by taking out the competition.
And if so, had she recruited her stepson DJ to carry out the plot?
He should have been there. He should not have been there.
Devin claimed that DJ and Chervon had never had any issues.
Let me see your hands.
But if that was the case, why was he driving what detectives believed to be the getaway car?
After having dinner that night, they decided to go to the park.
Devin said on the way, he got a call from Devin Jr., and he may have mentioned that they're on their way to the park.
My son knew where I was going.
But when detectives ask Devin if he owns a gun, it begins to look even more likely that his son DJ is involved.
I had a weapon that was given to me as a gift, but I don't know where the weapon is.
His wife Tammy did not like guns, so he kept it hidden away.
But according to Devin, it had recently gone missing.
It was a 380.
Was it possible Chervon had been shot with her fiancé's gun?
We recovered a .380 Lorsen, and we had .380 cartridges at the scene over at the park.
The detectives showed Mr. Bickham a picture of the weapon that was recovered in the gray sedan, and he definitely confirmed that that was the missing gun.
That was given to me as a wedding gift.
That gun was actually a gift from Devin's marriage to Tammy.
Which strikes detectives as no coincidence.
It was definitely starting to look like Devin's wife had been behind Chervon's murder.
Asking Devin to stick around in case they have any more questions, detectives move on to his son, DJ.
Detectives thought that if his stepmother was involved and they leaned on him hard enough, he would give her up.
It could have been the son who was upset with his father. The father could have been the target, and the wrong person got killed.
Asked about the shooting, DJ denies any involvement.
DJ's alibi for his time during the shooting that him and Cardell were, in fact, at Cardell's girlfriend's house.
And I picked him up. He was on his girlfriend. And where's that? Long free and late.
The address he gave detectives was in the same general area that they were pulled over.
But his explanation for how the gun ended up in the car is far less plausible.
He told the detectives that someone had threw the gun into his car.
I didn't say he's in my car and threw a gun on that.
Which we found probably less than truthful.
Why would somebody throw a pistol? I have no idea. I'm just not counting.
Especially since DJ's dad has already said the gun was his.
The officers showed DJ the same picture of the weapon, and he confirmed that that was definitely his father's firearm.
What are the chances that your father's pistol is used in the shooting that somebody randomly throws into your car? Okay, that's a pretty big difference.
Realizing he's in over his head, DJ says he's ready to tell detectives the truth.
He said that after he and Cardell left Cardell's girlfriend's house, that Cardell directed him to a place near the park.
Okay, he was going to take a while to away the gun.
DJ tells detectives Cardell directed him to a street corner near the park.
Cardell got out of the car.
I'll be right back. Bye.
He said a few minutes later, he heard gunshots. And after that, he saw Cardell run into the car.
Go, 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 go! Drive! Where? Just drive! Just drive!
But detectives still don't buy DJ's story.
Why didn't he tell you were going there? He didn't. No, he did not.
But under pressure from detectives, DJ finally lets something slip.
Trevon was pressuring him to divorce Tammy.
Obviously, you can't marry someone that's already married.
DJ said the affair his father was having with Trevon had gone too far.
Detectives investigating Siobhan Alexander's murder have just had one of their suspicions confirmed by her fiancé's son, DJ Bickham.
DJ said that the relationship of his father and Miss Alexander is what led to her murder.
But even though DJ had more or less named Cardell as the shooter, he wouldn't say why he did it.
He said, make a run for me. I'll give you guys money. And we know he always give you guys money in certain places. Don't be no problem.
With DJ stonewalling them, detectives turn to 35-year-old Cardell Taylor, the man they suspect killed Siobhan.
Right now, we know what you did. You know what you did. Okay. Now what you need to figure out is what kind of life can I have left over?
Backed into a corner, Cardell starts talking.
Cardell told investigators, ultimately, probably the most consistent story in the end. He kind of explained how the whole chain of events happened.
He begins by admitting that someone had hired him to kill Siobhan.
Who are we talking about? DJ.
But was DJ the mastermind, or simply the middleman?
Is there somebody else involved?
He said he only knew what DJ told him.
DJ's son told you what? He's trying to obey matters. Then who's trying to up their marriage? I don't know. You don't know her name, but she's trying to up whose marriage?
Cardell's story confirmed DJ's claim that the murder was over his father's affair with Siobhan.
Okay. Did you ever have a conversation with DJ where he mentioned his dad wanted this gun?
It seemed very, very likely that Mr. Bickham's wife, Tammy, was behind this hit.
But whoever arranged to have Siobhan killed, her death hadn't cost them much.
And that's amazing how cheap life is, that someone's willing to take anyone's life for $400.
Cardell says that once they'd agreed on the price, DJ had picked him up and they'd driven to the park.
What did you do while you were in there?
He took some Vicodin, some 𝐅𝐔𝐋𝐋, and he said he passed out in the passenger seat of DJ's car.
Sometime later, DJ woke him.
Dale, Cardell, take this.
He told them that he got the murder weapon from DJ.
I'll be right back. Bye. You gun and you walk across the street. What did the gun look like? It was black. It was black. Okay. You walk across the street, and then what happens?
Cardell said when he walked up to the car, he didn't expect to see Devin Sr. there.
You didn't know he was going to be in the car. DJ didn't mention that she was in this car with my dad, so be careful. You really didn't expect him to be there?
It became clear to us that DJ and Cardell hadn't spent a lot of time carefully planning their actions because it was pretty disorganized.
Get down!
Still, Cardell had done what he'd been hired to do.
You start shooting.
Once they have Cardell's confession, detectives turn back to DJ.
Some other things that come to light that you didn't allude to before, okay?
Now that the detectives have identified as DJ as being the middleman, they are trying to find out if Tammy is behind the hit.
But when detectives pressure DJ about the details of Cardell's confession, he reveals that it wasn't his stepmother behind the murder.
You using this gun for what reason? To do the job of my father.
DJ revealed to detectives that his father was the mastermind behind the hit.
Why? Why did your dad want this stuff? I'm just gonna because you want to get rid of it.
DJ tells detectives that his dad started dating Siobhan while separated from his stepmother.
But they told him that they got that covered, yeah.
According to DJ, that had caused some problems between his dad and Siobhan.
She was pressuring him to divorce Tammy. She was also threatening Mr. Bickham to tell Tammy about the affair.
So, according to DJ, his father had come up with a plan.
DJ said it was around April or May that his father had asked him if he knew someone that will kill someone for him.
That's when DJ introduces his father to Cardell.
Plan A was to take her to a motel and kill her at a motel. This is as premeditated as it comes.
But according to DJ, on the evening of the murder, his father made a last-minute change to the plan.
Hey.
Hey.
We still doing this?
Yeah.
He told me to leave my house. They was going to the park.
Growing up without a mother was difficult. Yeah, I did have a grandmother that loved me just as much, but we all kind of understood that it would never be the same. My mom was like a best friend, like my hero. The person that I know if I'm having a bad day, I talk to, I'm okay. And growing up, knowing I don't have that person anymore, it became so surreal.
Devin Bickham Sr.'s son, DJ, has just revealed to detectives that his father was the mastermind behind the murder of 29-year-old Siobhan Alexander.
DJ said that Siobhan was urging his dad to divorce his wife Tammy so that they could get married.
DJ also walks detectives through the events leading up to the murder.
Then he called me and said he's going to a party.
According to DJ, Devin had coordinated the whole thing.
We still doing this?
Yeah.
When detectives bring Devin Sr. back into the interrogation room, he denies everything.
It wasn't. It wasn't. No.
Even when detectives inform him of DJ's confession, Devin Sr. still denies any involvement.
We were brought over time to this. You went out. There's no way that pretty much how you did it.
Devin Sr. begins weeping and says that his son is a liar.
I didn't want to say stuff I didn't.
Not that Devin's denials do him any good.
They then went ahead and arrested Mr. Bickham, DJ, and Cardell.
The news that her fiancé is behind the murder stuns Siobhan's family.
I just didn't think a human being could have so much hate in their heart to do something like this to somebody that she thought loved her.
It was terrifying to find out Devin had been involved, let alone find out at all that someone that she loved and cared about could do that to her.
Although the family doubts DJ's claim that Siobhan was threatening to tell Devin's wife about their relationship.
She knew right from wrong. She was not the type of young lady that would break up a family.
She thought that they were getting a divorce.
I think that when she found out that he was living this double life and he probably was not planning on leaving his wife, I believe Siobhan got to a point that, you know what, if that's what you want, that's fine, but I want out. And I believe that's when he decided to take matters in his own hands.
Now it's up to the justice system to ensure that Devin's held responsible for Siobhan's murder.
To help secure a conviction, the prosecutors offered DJ a plea deal if he would agree to testify against his father.
But in the end, DJ takes his chances at trial.
For some reason, he thought that they were gonna beat it.
Father and son stand trial together in May of 2014.
Mr. Bickham and his son DJ were tried together in front of separate juries.
The prosecution opens by claiming that Devin Sr. knew exactly what he was getting his son into and exactly what was going to happen that night when Cardell Taylor approached his car.
The whole thing was arranged by Mr. Bickham. It was coordinated by his son DJ, who provided the gun for Cardell.
Then, while Siobhan lay dying in the passenger seat, Devin dialed 911 and began covering his tracks.
Devin's frantic 911 call was nothing but an act.
Who shot your girlfriend?
To prove that he did know, prosecutors present the jury with Cardell and DJ's taped confessions, as well as Devin's phone records.
There was significant communication between DJ and his father shortly before the homicide.
The text messages were very specific. Devin Bickham Sr. was asking Devin Bickham Jr. where he was at. It shows the premeditation of everything that took place.
In the end, the jury agrees, finding Devin guilty of murder.
Mr. Bickham was sentenced 95 years with no parole.
I think it was Judge Love that told Devin that she was going to make sure that she give him enough time that only way that he'll come out of there is out of pine box.
Devin's son also pays a heavy price.
DJ was also found guilty of murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
A few months later, Cardell Taylor's murder trial also ends in a guilty verdict.
Cardell was sentenced with 70 years with no parole.
I'm glad that Devin Jr. and Cardell will never, ever get a chance to do this to no one else again.
But despite all the pain Devin and his accomplices caused, Siobhan's family has found it within themselves to forgive.
I have no hate in my heart for them. I would encourage them, go before God and ask God for forgiveness.
I actually pray every night that each and every one of them have peace with God.
And the family also knows that no amount of time served will ever bring back the one they loved.
My sister's gone, but she's not forgotten.
I miss her so much. I wish she was here.
There's no one else like her that can take that spot or that void.
She's gonna always be in my heart, no matter what.
In the vibrant city of Elizabeth, New Jersey, a devoted mother beams with pride as she nurtures her 4 children. Life is beautifully unfolding, filled with love and cherished moments, when everything changes in the blink of an eye. A night out for fun spirals into mystery as she suddenly vanishes. What happened that evening? And what happens when love becomes fatal? This is a Fatal Attraction podcast with Chasing Justice.
March 27th, 2016. It's Easter Sunday in Elizabeth, New Jersey, a gritty industrial city tucked between Newark and Staten Island.
Elizabeth is a very diverse community with a lot of Afro-Americans, Italian-Americans, and Hispanic Americans.
We're populated at around 140,000, which means that we have all the problems of any major urban city.
You don't know what's gonna happen any time, day or the night. It's never safe.
Although at first, the call that comes in at 6 o'clock that evening seems relatively routine.
I'm calling because I can't find my sister.
Family has been trying to get a hold of 26-year-old Trinice Johnson since the early afternoon.
My mom called me. She said, "Have you spoke to your sister?" I said, "No." She's like, "Well, she normally calls us every morning on video chat, and this morning she didn't call me." So my mom said she kept trying to call her.
This is very uncharacteristic of her. She wouldn't just go off and not respond to the multiple calls.
Trinice, open up! I called my sister Jaquetta, and I said, "Quetta, come on. We're going to see if we could get into TT house."
When they were unable to get in, they called 911 to put an alert about what's going on.
I'm here at her apartment and I can't seem to get in. We don't know where she is.
Her sister was feeling scared, nervous, anxious, and they wanted the police to do a wellness check.
The last time everybody seen her, she was home.
Okay. All right, I'll send police officers over, okay?
For Trinice Johnson, family was everything.
She loved her family. She always was the one that kept our family together.
She comes from a family of 10 siblings, and they were all very close.
She the one that would throw the events for all of us, to have a good time. That's who she was.
Though she grew up in a tough neighborhood, Trinice always kept a good head on her shoulders.
Trinice liked to party, have fun, but she always was a hardworking woman. Very smart, very intelligent.
But what made Trinice happiest were her children.
She had 3 boys. She was a great mom. She took care of her kids very well. They always did fun activities.
Being a single mom wasn't always easy, but there wasn't anything Trinice wouldn't do for her children.
The financial strains of raising 3 children as a single mom is tough, but she was working at a grocery store. She had been there for 6 years.
She was definitely dedicated to ensuring that her children were taken care of.
And she had a little help raising the boys.
Oh, and don't forget, take the bus to your dad's house, okay, after school. All right, I love you.
Though she had separated from the 2 fathers of her 3 children, the men were still in their lives.
They did stay very close, and you can tell that they were in a mature co-parenting relationship.
But in 2015, Trinice had a new man in her life, Arturo Alomas.
Trinice met Arturo through a mutual friend.
They clicked pretty instantly.
It's fun, it's light, it's super loving.
When you're meeting someone new, we have the butterflies, the mild anxiety that comes from, oh my God, do they feel the same way as me? And that's really the best part, right? The falling in love.
But Trinice had a feeling that her relationship with Arturo was more than just a passing fling.
He's open and accepting for her and her children.
Arturo seemed to be someone that she could, raise a family with.
I have something I gotta tell you.
It turned out she'd soon have the chance to do just that.
Trinice and Arturo, they got pregnant.
What?
Despite the strains that it poses on a new relationship, Arturo still stepped up.
Listen, we're gonna make this work.
Okay.
And I love you so much.
I love you too.
And in January of 2016, Trinice and Arturo welcomed a baby girl.
We was happy for her because she was having her first daughter.
You can imagine the excitement she felt. There's something special as a mom to have a daughter. She's gonna be your little best friend.
They were enjoying their new bundle of joy.
They had also started talking about moving in together.
It seemed like it was going to be an amazing future between the two.
Only now, Trinice has gone missing, and her family has called 911 and requested a welfare check.
The last time everybody seen her, she was home.
Her apartment was the last place she was known to be, and she wasn't answering the phone or her door.
More family was being notified, and they were all showing up at the location.
I'll send police officers over and they'll see if they can help you figure this out, okay?
Okay.
But while the family waits for the officers to arrive, Trinice's father remembers that he has a key to her apartment.
Trinice's family was actually able to get into the apartment.
We didn't know what was inside, but I can feel things before it happened, and I knew it wasn't nothing good.
The premonition proves correct.
Trinice!
𝐄𝐏𝐻𝐒 was the first one to see her laying on the floor.
Her hands and feet were bound together.
There's a plastic bag over her head.
𝐄𝐏𝐻𝐒 ripped the bag off of her head, tried to give her CPR.
But it was too little, too late.
She was already cold. She was already deceased.
Detectives are on the hunt to find out what happened to Trinice Johnson. Stay with us as we unlock the mysteries that lie ahead. This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Already raising 3 boys, Trinice Johnson had just welcomed a little girl into the family with her new boyfriend, Arturo Alomas.
It was her first daughter.
You can imagine the excitement she felt.
But now, just 2 months after the baby's birth, Trinice's family has made a devastating discovery.
Hello, I need to talk now.
We immediately called the cops, and we told them that my sister was here on the floor.
She was bound by the hands and by the legs with a plastic bag over her head, duct taped with a cord of some sort.
We've been looking for her all day. We couldn't get in.
There was nothing that could have prepared them for what they would find in there.
To walk in and to see someone that was full of life like Trinice, someone who loved her family and was the glue for her family, to see that person that way is such a shock. It is something that you can never prepare for.
There was screaming, there was crying. At least one person who threw themselves on the floor, unable to stand the gravity of what they were taking in.
The family is still in shock when police arrive at the scene minutes later.
Trinice's family were taken out so that they can secure the crime scene.
The crime scene, detectives, everybody was there doing their investigation.
But there is nothing they can do for Trinice.
She was pronounced dead.
But why was she killed?
Where she lived was one of the biggest public housing projects in the city.
It was a lot of crimes, a lot of drug dealing.
Detectives had to consider the possibility that this was a random crime.
But after looking around the apartment, that appears unlikely.
There was no signs of break-in.
Trinice's cell phone and wallet were missing, but other valuables remained.
Other than a body on the floor, there was just nothing that was remarkable about the crime scene.
However, the state of Trinice's body does tell detectives something about the crime.
Policing the bag over her head, that was a deliberate, so she couldn't breathe, she couldn't scream. Her hands, her feet were bound, so she couldn't run, she couldn't get away.
This wasn't a smash and grab robbery gone wrong. Whoever killed Trinice had essentially tortured her.
It was personal. It was someone that she knew.
Detectives hope the family can eventually shed some light on who might do such a thing to Trinice, but they're currently too distraught to talk.
Imagine, as a father, walking into your daughter's apartment and finding her dead. You are not going to be in any condition to be able to answer questions. It would take an extreme amount of resilience to be able to do that.
The only person able to speak with detectives is Trinice's cousin, Jason.
We're real sorry, folks.
Can't believe she gone. Who was just at the club last night?
Jason had been out with Trinice and her sisters the night before.
Well, it was her birthday.
You have a mom of 4 that wants to celebrate and have a good time. She had her 3 boys and a brand new newborn and all the stresses of that. She wanted to go let her hair down, enjoy herself.
They were having a grand time, going out, celebrating her, celebrating life.
And then she catches somebody's eye.
Trinice was a beautiful girl, right? So she got a lot of attention.
The man said his name was Demetrius.
Did you get his last name?
She didn't say.
Demetrius was buying Trinice drinks, giving her a lot of attention. Typical behavior that you see from a man who is interested in a woman at the club.
Trinice had been flattered.
Trinice was just a few months postpartum, right? And so oftentimes women are not feeling like themselves. So to be in a space where they're getting attention makes them feel like, hey, I still got it.
But according to her cousin, that was as far as it went.
So what do you say we get out of here?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't.
She did inform him that she was seeing someone.
The boundary was there. Hey, I'm not interested in anything more. I'm here tonight to have a good time.
Well, that's all I'm talking about. Having a good time.
According to Trinice's cousin, Demetrius didn't want to take no for an answer.
If you've ever been to the club, you know that there's always going to be someone that's going to try to buy you drinks, etc. And sometimes there is this notion that with those drinks, there comes an exchange of sorts, a transaction, right? I'm buying you drinks. It should at least buy me something later on.
Her cousin says that Trinice had eventually had enough.
Trinice decided to ghost Demetrius at the bar.
While he was buying another round of drinks, Trinice, her cousin, and her sisters had quietly slipped out without telling him.
Trinice's cousin says they left at a little after 2 o'clock in the morning.
My cousin dropped my sister off at home.
You didn't go in with her? She told me she was good.
My sister called my cousin once she entered her home and said, I'm in the house, you can go home.
But detectives know that Trinice's night was far from over.
Police were trying to figure out if she told Demetrius where she lived or anything of that nature.
This person that was buying them drinks all night could have followed her home. He could have possibly had this ego injury. How dare you accept drinks from me and not give me anything after and just leave me like this? He may have engaged in an altercation with her of some sort that led to her death.
Detectives believe they have a person of interest. And while Trinice's cousin doesn't know Demetrius's last name, he is able to provide them with a physical description.
He did say that Demetrius was a decent-looking guy, light-skinned, in his 30s, and bald.
After talking to Trinice's cousin, detectives canvassed the housing complex, looking for possible witnesses.
They come across a neighbor who happened to have been outside at approximately 4 a.m.
While she was smoking a cigarette, she did see a man leaving Trinice's building.
The description she gave of the man sounded awfully familiar.
He was black, he was light-skinned, and he was bald.
Hidden truths and further mystery lie ahead. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Detectives investigating the murder of Trinice Johnson suspect they may have identified the mother-of-four's killer.
On the night of the murder, Trinice had gone out to celebrate her birthday, and she had met a guy who had came on to her pretty aggressively.
So, what do you say we get out of here?
She left. She ghosted him.
And now talking to one of Trinice's neighbors, detectives believe the man from the club may have followed her home.
Her neighbor let them know that they did see someone leaving Trinice's building around 4 o'clock in the morning the night prior.
When she was asked to describe him, he was tall, bald, light-skinned.
Detectives do believe that this could be a match to Demetrius.
Before leaving, detectives note a nearby security camera.
Can you tell us where the leasing office is?
The next step is we gotta corroborate the story. So the detectives go over to the leasing office to get the footage.
The office manager was able to give them a copy of their security camera footage from the night before.
Back at the station, detectives find exactly what they're looking for.
They did see a black man, bald, light-skinned, walk across the courtyard at around 4 a.m.
They weren't able to tell who it was, though.
It's dark, and the man in the footage is far from the camera.
They couldn't see clearly, but they did see this person.
But who is he exactly? All the detectives know is that the man from the club told Trinice his name was Demetrius.
They didn't know his last name or even if Demetrius was his real first name.
The following morning, detectives decide to pay a visit to the club.
They decided to go to the club to see if they can find out any information that they could about Demetrius.
They have Demetrius' description, so they questioned the staff.
You might have been here with this woman.
Detectives are in luck.
They're like, oh yeah, bald guy. Yeah, we've seen him here. Comes often, likes to buy the ladies drinks.
He acts like a player, trying to do what he can to either take a woman home, get her number, whatever the case may be, but he does come in often.
But just as the detectives think they've tracked down the mysterious Demetrius, they hit a snag.
I don't remember his last name. He always pays with cash.
She does believe he works at some sort of shipping company at the airport.
Could have been FedEx, UPS, but she does know that much.
It's the slimmest of leads. But after a few phone calls, it appears to pan out.
They find out that there is a Demetrius Barnes working at one of the shipping companies as a package sorter.
Detectives did speak to the night shift manager, who said he does fit the description and he was off Saturday night.
Making it very clear that it is possible that he could have been the same Demetrius that was at the bar buying Trinice drinks.
Before bringing him in for questioning, the detectives do a little digging on Demetrius Barnes.
Now that they have a last name, they're able to go through their database.
When they pulled his criminal record, it suggested that they may be on the right track.
They did find a handful of domestic violence charges.
One woman, one victim, even went as far as to get a restraining order against him because she feared him so much.
And the details in the restraining order raise another red flag.
The woman who filed the restraining order against Demetrius did say that he was following her and showing up at her apartment uninvited. So at this point, detectives are very certain that they want to bring him in for questioning.
We have someone who met Ternice, has domestic violence charges against him, was ghosted, and could have possibly had this injury to his ego and his pride about how dare you accept drinks from me and not give me anything after and just leave me like this. So we have a possible motive for him to follow her home.
They think that this is our guy.
But if that's true, will he crack once alone in a room with detectives?
What's this all about? We need to ask you a few questions about Ternice Johnson.
When they did ask him, if they know Ternice, he says he doesn't know who she is.
To jog his memory, detectives show Demetrius a photo.
They press him a little bit more and try to remind him of the night.
They saying, are you sure you didn't know her? You were seen at the club.
You say her name's Ternice?
He says, oh yeah, I do remember this woman.
He says, I'm not sure she even told me her name.
Is she in some kind of trouble or something? You can say that.
When detectives reveal that Ternice was murdered, Demetrius's response raises eyebrows.
Just like, oh, that's too bad.
It wasn't the normal response that one would expect. He wasn't shocked. He was more nonchalant.
That's all you got to say? Hey, man, what do you want?
He's like, well, I only met her the one time.
Or so he claims.
At this point, detectives bring up the domestic abuse charges.
We know you like to show up at places you're not wanted. Let's see what this is all about.
At this point, something clicks in Demetrius's head where he's like, I think I know where these cops are trying to go with this.
He realizes that they're talking about the restraining order. And Demetrius becomes very defensive. And he says, well, that restraining order was BS.
Look, man, you got it all wrong. I had nothing to do with this.
For Demetrius, it's like, listen, all I did was go out and meet a pretty woman.
So then they say, well, then what did you do after the club? And he said, well, I didn't go home.
But he says he didn't go to Ternice's either.
He was disappointed that she ghosted him. He thought that they were getting somewhere. But the night wasn't over for him. He did text a woman named Sheila Smallwood to connect with her after the club.
At 2 a.m. Yeah, she's used to it.
This is someone that he texts at this hour normally that he hooks up with.
He says they have this sort of friends with benefits type hookup relationship.
When the detectives follow up with Sheila, it appears that Demetrius is telling the truth.
She's able to corroborate the alibi that yes, he did in fact go to her house at that time and stayed the whole night, didn't leave until about 10 a.m. the next day.
He was not with Ternice at the time that she was murdered.
Less than 24 hours into their investigation, detectives have ruled out suspect number one.
Detectives are feeling very frustrated because their one lead has now vanished.
When detectives receive the results of Ternice's autopsy, they're no closer to finding her killer.
There was no DNA evidence and there was no sexual assault. So there's really no way of cross-matching this to any one person.
The only thing detectives could really learn was the cause of death.
She did die from strangulation and asphyxiation.
However, just when the investigation is at an impasse, Ternice's father contacts the detectives with a troubling piece of news.
The family hadn't been able to reach Arturo Alomas, Ternice's boyfriend and father of her infant daughter.
He's gone off the radar. They cannot find him anywhere.
He's not answering calls. He's going to voicemail.
Which is especially troubling considering what he says next.
Ternice had left the baby with Arturo when she went out to celebrate her birthday.
The family is now at its wit's end.
So not only are they, still mourning the loss of Ternice, but now they're not fully sure where her daughter is.
Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Detectives investigating Trinice Johnson's murder have just discovered that her boyfriend, Arturo Alomas, and their baby daughter are missing.
Before going to the bar, Trinice made sure that her children were being taken care of by their fathers. So the family's going to the different fathers and making sure that they check in, and they say they've been unable to reach Arturo this whole time that things have happened.
Detectives sent police to Arturo's apartment, and when they were able to gain access to the apartment, there was no sign of Arturo and no sign of the baby either.
The family realizes that the baby is gone, and panic ensues.
I was worried about my niece. I was just in shock about the whole situation.
Where is Arturo? But more importantly, where is the baby? What happened here?
There's one explanation the detectives have to consider.
The detectives ask, well, do you think that Arturo could have something to do with this?
I don't know.
Trinice's father isn't sure.
The family is basically saying that they don't know. They don't know if he could have done this or not.
Why would he do that? Why would he take her?
Remember, they don't know Arturo very long. They know him about as long as Trinice knows him.
Looking for leads, detectives pull Arturo's criminal record.
They're looking at the patterns of his life. You want to see if he has a violent background.
What they find is troubling.
And they did find a lot of charges against him.
Arturo's record shows that he has several charges from robbery all the way up to aggravated assault.
But that's not all detectives find in Arturo's background check.
The whole time he had been seeing Trinice, Arturo was married to someone else.
This was something that he kept a secret.
And now detectives wondered if a jealous wife could be behind the murder and Arturo's disappearance.
The woman's name is Octavia Smith. But when detectives bring her in for questioning, she says she hasn't seen Arturo in months.
Well, we're basically separated.
She said they were only still married because she didn't have the money to hire a lawyer.
However, she does admit to knowing about Arturo's relationship with Trinice and their baby.
What was your relationship like with Trinice?
There wasn't one. I've never even talked to her.
And you weren't jealous that she was with Arturo?
Or that she had his baby?
Lord, no.
But is she telling the truth?
Where were you Saturday night?
At home, watching TV.
Was anyone with you?
My mom. But she went to bed around midnight, I think.
It was kind of a weak alibi, since Trinice didn't even get home until 2 o'clock in the morning.
As the detectives in New Jersey are debating whether or not to rule Arturo's wife out as a suspect, an officer 600 miles to the south is weighing a different decision. The North Carolina cop is outside the small town of Salisbury when he spots something illegal on a car with New Jersey tags.
The car who was driving had blue lights on their bumper.
The blue lights were a violation since police use blue lights.
And he was also speeding, so something just didn't seem right with the vehicle.
Switching on his own blue lights, the officer attempts to stop the driver.
The officer did decide to try to pull over this car.
But the car doesn't stop.
Instead of slowing down, he attempts to flee.
Detectives are on the hunt to find out what happened to Trinice Johnson. Stay with us as we unlock the mysteries that lie ahead. This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Trinice Johnson's family is confronting the awful possibility that her boyfriend Arturo Alomas may have murdered the mother of 4 and disappeared with the couple's 2-month-old daughter.
I was so afraid because I didn't know if he did something to my niece. I didn't know what to think.
You pray, you panic, and then you pray and panic some more.
But while they pray, an officer in North Carolina is attempting to pull over a suspicious vehicle with New Jersey tags.
He initially tried to pull the car over because it had those illegal blue lights.
The driver did not pull over and try to flee the scene.
A lot of times when you attempt to pull a car over and the vehicle is refusing to stop, they're hiding narcotics in the car, they're hiding a weapon in the car, or they're fleeing. They're fleeing something.
The police have to get this car stopped.
After calling in backup, the officer pulls in tight on the fleeing car to perform what's known as a precision immobilization technique.
The pit maneuver is basically the old bump and run maneuver from NASCAR, where you nudge the car you're chasing, leading the car to temporarily lose control.
The car spun and then came to a stop in the median.
With the fleeing car momentarily stopped, the officers move in.
They cut him off so he couldn't go anywhere, and then they ordered him out of the vehicle.
Show me your hands. Come on out. Step out of the vehicle.
Lights are going. It's a very tense moment.
The driver does get out of the car and is instantly put into handcuffs.
It's only then that the officer realizes there is someone else in the car.
There is an infant, a baby, in the backseat.
She was in a car, not strapped in, no car seat.
They start asking, who is this child? He identifies her as his daughter.
What's your name, man?
Arturo Alamas.
All right.
At that point, the police officer did search the car, and they see a lot of bags packed in the car, a lot of baby bags with bottles and different types of supplies that you would need for a baby.
Meaning that he was preparing for a long trip.
The officer also searches through the car's glove box.
They did see that the car was registered under Trinice's name.
Who's Trinice Johnson?
It's my girlfriend. It's her car.
It was true. Trinice did have two cars, one that police found outside her apartment and another that she let Arturo use.
What else the officer finds inside the car is tougher to explain.
In the front seat, there was a backpack that had Trinice's cell phone and her wallet.
All of this is giving red flags.
So they do ask, where's Trinice?
Where's Trinice at?
Trinice?
Yeah, your girlfriend? This stuff belongs to her, right?
The police don't know what has happened in New Jersey.
They don't know Trinice was murdered.
It was only after he had been pulled over that he realized that they didn't know everything.
So Arturo attempts to buy himself more time.
We got into an argument. I let her out a couple miles back.
He told them that he left my sister walking up the highway because they had an argument, so she got out.
Where'd you leave her at?
Right past the store.
He had to realize that they were going to find out.
Hidden truths and further mystery lie ahead.
Show me your hands. Come on out.
North Carolina police have just stopped Arturo Alamas for what started as a minor traffic violation.
The trooper initially was going to stop him for those illegal blue lights, but then he fled. And when they finally stopped him, they realized he had an unsecured infant right in the back seat.
Whose baby is that?
They charge him with felony speeding, to elude arrest, reckless driving, and child endangerment.
However, the authorities in North Carolina soon learned that Arturo may be guilty of far more.
It's not until they take him over to the jail and start the booking process that they learn that he is wanted as a person of interest in the death of Trinice Johnson.
So this has gone from a routine traffic stop to a multi-state case.
Word of Arturo's arrest soon reaches the authorities in New Jersey and Trinice's family.
And they tell us that they have Arturo in custody. And I was relieved because he got caught and because my niece was safe and sound.
But the family remains sickened by the realization of what Arturo has done.
Why would he do that to her? Why would he take her from her kids?
Based on the evidence from the traffic stop, the detectives have little doubt that Arturo killed Trinice.
Why did he have her phone? Why did he have her belongings?
And why would he tell the trooper that he'd left Trinice on the side of the road?
He's being asked about her explicitly, and rather than coming clean, he will do anything in order to get away from the police and out of this situation.
Detectives also work to place Arturo at the scene of the crime.
They bring the neighbor in who said that they did see someone in the courtyard, and they show a photo lineup of several men, and she picks out Arturo.
She identifies him as the man that she saw crossing the courtyard that Sunday morning at 4 a.m.
Prosecutors charge Arturo with murder and extradite him back to New Jersey. When he goes on trial in August of 2018, the family is determined to see that justice is served.
I was pregnant with my daughter, but I made sure I made every appearance in court.
In their opening statement, prosecutors argue that Trinice's murder was a clear case of jealousy.
Basically, he was upset because she went out for her birthday. He seen the videos on social media.
When you have a person that's controlling, to see your partner, at a club where there are other potential people that may be looking at them, it causes the person to feel that they are being violated.
There are men who become very jealous if they think that she is out with someone else.
The prosecutors theorize that when Trinice returned home from the club, Arturo was waiting.
What are you doing in here?
What the hell you doing?
He was just jealous, just enraged.
What you need to do is get out.
All she did was walk into the living room and he attacked her.
And it did escalate to the point where Arturo did strangle Trinice.
He had no reason to do what he did to my sister. Nothing in this world would help me or make me understand why.
Arturo's brutality didn't end there either.
Instead of leaving her for dead, Arturo did tie her up and put a plastic bag over her head just in case the strangulation wasn't enough.
Even if she was just knocked out and came to later on, she wouldn't be able to breathe.
Then, leaving Trinice to die, Arturo fled with their daughter.
This man committed this heinous crime against the mother of his child and also took his baby along with him for the ride.
They go to North Carolina. And oddly enough, he was running to North Carolina to go see his own mother.
It is very ironic that he decides to rob 4 children of their mother, someone who is supposed to be the woman that they can go to, they can run to when they're in trouble, just for him to go to his mom when he's in trouble and run to her knowing that she'd be there for him.
But now Arturo's running is over.
The jury does find Arturo guilty of the murder of Trinice.
The judge sentenced him to 75 years in prison.
It's essentially a life sentence.
He has to serve 85% of that sentence before he's eligible for parole.
He'll be 98 when he is even eligible for parole.
Hopefully, he will die in jail and he won't be able to have freedom again. To me, he should have got the death penalty because he took my sister's life.
But nothing will ever bring Trinice back to her children.
They miss their mother each and every day. Each and every day, no matter how many years it may be. They didn't get the chance to grow with her. Now they got to grow without her.
My prayer for Trinice's 3 sons and daughter is that they find peace. Closure is not possible with a situation like this, but my prayer is that they're in an environment with family that is able to love on them.
She may not be here physically, but she definitely is here spiritually. She see everything that goes on. She know everything that goes on. She is our guardian angel.
In the charming town of Woodridge, Illinois, a dedicated young mother is successfully balancing motherhood, her studies, and her career. Determined to build a brighter future for herself and her family, her life is finally coming together. Just as her hard work begins paying off, tragedy strikes, and her detectives are determined to uncover what has happened. What happens when love becomes fatal? This is a Fatal Attraction podcast with Enraged by Envy.
October 19th, 2015. It's a quiet Monday in Woodridge, Illinois, a small suburb on the western edge of Chicago.
Woodridge is a community a little more than 20 miles outside the city of Chicago.
It is far enough away that it's not impacted by the major crime incidents that happen in Chicago.
But today, one family is afraid crime may have struck their peaceful neighborhood.
The Dickey family is worried because they haven't heard from their sister, Cecily Dickey.
Cecily hadn't responded to phone calls or texts, so the family became concerned.
She was a single mom, and her daughter was staying with her parents that weekend, so it was really unlike her to be out of touch.
They were alarmed to the point where they showed up at Cecily's apartment.
Cecily, open up.
But she's not home.
They find the door locked. There's no answer of anyone inside.
Cecily, open up. It's Cadero.
After knocking and trying to get into Cecily's apartment, they had to reach out to the maintenance man and convince him to let them into her apartment.
It's right up here. This is her apartment right here. She's not answering.
And once inside, their worst fears are realized.
Thank you. Oh my God, look.
In the kitchen, they see their baby sister lying in a pool of blood.
"26-year-old Cecily Dickey had always wanted to make her mark on the world.
She really did have a love for life and a great spirit about her.
Her family and friends would describe her as hardworking, determined.
Even in the face of adversity.
She had her daughter in high school.
She felt like a child herself. And then to have a child, to have this responsibility placed in your lap, it can be a lot.
She was focused on making sure that her and her child were taken care of no matter what was happening.
However, the child's father didn't feel the same way.
He wasn't ready for the responsibility of a child.
She said, okay, I'm still gonna raise this child with or without you.
With the help of her supportive family, Cecily was still able to pursue her dreams.
Women in that situation can choose what to do with this predicament. You can choose to say, this is it, this is all I can amount to, or use it to say, this is a responsibility, but I can still make something out of my life.
Cecily was determined to do the best she could with the hand she was dealt for herself and her daughter.
She was taking childhood education courses and business courses to one day open her own daycare center.
While she was in school, she was also working full-time at a call center, trying to save up enough money to get her own place.
But with each step forward, Cecily still felt that something was missing.
She wanted a partner, someone to help her take on life's challenges.
she decided to jump back in the dating pool.
That's when she met Malcolm Sanders.
He was handsome and charming, and he embraced the fact that she had a baby.
The couple dated for 8 years, but over time, they drifted apart.
Malcolm was traveling a lot, working. He was not around as much. This was becoming a growing sense of frustration.
As time went on, their relationship kind of fizzled out and they decided to go their own ways.
For Cecily, the breakup was discouraging.
She felt she was getting her life on track, and then just to have it all taken away from her, it made it all the more hard for her.
Cecily wasn't sure if she would ever find love.
But then in the spring of 2015, she got an unexpected call from an old friend, a man named London Luckett.
Well, hello, stranger.
London had a relationship with Cecily's family that went back over 10 years.
She first met him back in high school.
They'd gotten pretty close over the years, ran in the same circles, but they had never really dated.
And when London graduated, their lives went in separate directions.
He moved to Indiana, and Cecily had her baby, so they'd lost touch.
But when London returned to the Chicago area, the first thing he did was call Cecily.
It's great to hear your voice again.
It's good to hear yours, too.
He had invited Cecily to get lunch and catch up, and she jumped at the chance.
Man, you ain't changed a bit.
I can say the same thing about you.
They had so much history and so much to talk about.
You know I always had a thing for you, even back in the day.
I wish you would have said something sooner.
Me too.
He hadn't quite figured out his own circumstances, but there's no doubt that in London's mind, he envisioned building a life with Cecily.
He was someone that she could build that happily ever after and a forever with.
And by the fall of 2015, Cecily had a new man and a new apartment.
She decided to move to Woodridge for that more quiet place to live.
Renting this new apartment was a new lease on life for her.
Like this the last of it.
Well, this should leave plenty of space for your things.
For Cecily, life is good. Her new boyfriend is hopefully gonna move in, and they're gonna really start to build this family that she's always dreamed of.
But instead, Cecily's new apartment has become a crime scene.
It was one of the most gruesome scenes you could imagine.
It's unfortunate that her loved ones had to make that discovery.
With Cecily's siblings in shock, the maintenance worker dials 911.
Are they alive?
As soon as he bent down and touched her body, he knew it's too late.
She's dead?
Yeah.
Police and paramedics are both on the way.
First responders quickly arrive on the scene and confirm what the maintenance worker told dispatch.
She was immediately pronounced dead.
But what's even more shocking is the way she was killed.
This was particularly bloody and gruesome crime scene.
Cecily was stabbed to death, but the thing that stood out most was where she was stabbed.
There was a butcher knife protruding from her groin area.
Detectives continue to investigate to determine what transpired that night and what happened to Cecily Dickey. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
"26-year-old single mother Cecily Dickey was successfully creating a great life for herself and her daughter.
Cecily was making strides. She was taking classes to help advance her career. She was working full-time.
She got a new apartment. Life is good.
She had also recently fallen in love with an old friend from high school named London Luckett.
He was a really great father figure to her child.
It's because of this big helper we got right here.
He became somebody that she could see growing into a marriage possibly with.
But now, the 26-year-old mother has been found stabbed to death in her apartment.
It was a grisly crime scene.
Cecily was found in a posed position in the kitchen.
When Woodridge homicide detectives enter the apartment, it's unlike anything they've seen before.
We had Cecily's body, her legs spread out, numerous and obvious stab wounds to her chest and body area, defensive wounds to her hands, and you had the butcher knife inside her sex organ.
On top of more than 20 stab wounds, Cecily's killer had also strangled her.
She had bruising and indications of trauma at the neck.
However, the brutality of Cecily's murder also gives detectives their first clue.
The location of where the knife was left, it was clear that this was somebody who was vengeful.
Something of that nature. It's usually going to be personal. It's going to be somebody that had a relationship with them.
A search of the apartment appears to support detectives' theory.
There was no sign of forced entry. This was not a random break-in.
The person that murdered Cecily, she had let them into the apartment herself.
And whoever it was had also robbed her.
Her purse, wallet, cell phone, and car were all missing.
They also discover signs that the perpetrator had tried to conceal their crime.
So it was clear that there was a combination of blood spatter and blood from Cecily, as well as a cleaning product that had been sloppily used across the carpeted area of the crime scene.
There was obviously some intent to cover their tracks.
Fortunately, they didn't do a very good job.
A latent print was found on one of the Clorox bottles.
They also recovered skin cells from underneath Cecily's fingernails that probably belonged to whoever did this.
And judging by Cecily's body, she had been killed sometime over the weekend.
She was in an advanced state of rigor mortis.
She had been dead for over 24 hours at that point.
Which means there's no time to waste.
At that point, the investigation immediately kicked into gear.
Detectives file requests for Cecily's phone and bank records, as well as issue an APB for her stolen vehicle.
Obviously, local law enforcement is going to be super vigilant looking for that car.
Back at the station, detectives' first priority is sitting down with their victim's siblings.
Cordero and Kristen had both been brought to the station after first responders arrived and pronounced Cecily dead.
Having the family, they're able to give us some type of insights into what she was most recently involved in. Did she have some people that had some animosity toward her that they know of?
They begin with Cecily's sister, Kristen.
They had a pretty good relationship, and they stayed in pretty good contact with each other.
I don't want to keep you here very long. Obviously, you've got a lot to be dealing with right now.
Kristen says that the reason for going to her apartment was because they haven't heard from her in several days.
The last time Cecily had been seen was Friday.
Hoping to pinpoint a potential suspect, detectives ask Kristen about her sister's personal relationships.
In crimes of this nature, you're going to initially look at people that had some type of intimate relationships.
Is there any young man that's involved in her life? Friends, close friends?
Only two people, like men-wise, she talks to is obviously London.
She said London Luckett was her sister's boyfriend, and they had been dating for the last few months.
Those two, they really hit off.
He was the father figure, the nurturer, the provider, everything that her little sister needed.
London was amazing. You know what I mean? He was super nice to everybody. He was the guy of her dreams.
And according to Kristen, the young couple was getting serious.
So the plan was then for Cecily and London to pool their money together and live happily ever after.
Yeah.
And London was all for that.
Yeah, he was excited. He was so excited.
Of course, if detectives were thinking this crime was committed by one of Cecily's romantic partners, that put London right in their crosshairs.
But Kristen insists she doesn't think he could be responsible for her sister's murder.
She thinks Lawton had nothing to do with it.
However, Kristen says there is one person who may have wanted Cecily dead.
She was still seeing her ex, Malcolm.
She said London and Malcolm had both been vying for her affection, and Malcolm was losing.
This love triangle put her in a very dangerous situation.
He does have like the potential to snap.
The suspense, the secrets, and the deceit. Stay with us as we unravel the truth on the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
After finding her sister, 26-year-old Cecily Dickey brutally stabbed in her home, Kristen Dickey has just told detectives about the two men involved in her sister's life, Malcolm Sanders and London Luckett.
Over the past several months, Cecily had been seeing both men at the same time.
Her relationship with London had taken off, but Malcolm refused to move on.
She really ended it with him, but like they still talk and they still like have sex.
Cecily, I think, felt torn between these men.
Although Kristen insists that in her heart, Cecily knew which man she wanted to be with.
She wanted to be with London.
He was who her sister loved. On the other hand, Kristen thought Malcolm was nothing but trouble.
He would cheat, he would, just not a good boyfriend for her.
According to Kristen, he'd even gotten Cecily in trouble with the law.
He was doing credit card scams on her sister's computer, which made her become a target.
An investigation did ensue that resulted in Cecily being charged.
Even though Cecily had nothing to do with it, her sister says Malcolm's illegal activity meant she was facing jail time.
Are we talking a couple of bogus eBay orders, or are we talking hundreds of thousands of dollars at credit card fraud?
I don't know. I just know the bond was $5,000.
Malcolm had promised to pay her bond so she could turn herself in and deal with the charges and not have to sit and wait in jail.
While Cecily waited for the money, she kept the relationship going.
That was like one of the other reasons she didn't want to, yeah.
She felt obligated to him because she needed his financial contributions.
But no one was happy with the situation.
Kristen told investigators that the two men were aware of each other and neither one of them liked it at all.
Cecily's communications with Malcolm was a constant source of frustration for London.
While Kristen can't imagine that London would have hurt her sister, she can't say the same about Malcolm.
She had witnessed him being physically violent with her on occasion.
They actually got physical. He had a domestic charge on him between them two.
And if Cecily had finally called off their relationship, she isn't sure what he might be capable of.
Now we're dealing with feelings of rejection, feelings of insecurities.
He's a very emotional person.
She says she wouldn't be surprised if Malcolm is the one who did this to her sister.
When detectives speak to Cecily's brother, Cordero, he agrees.
He confirmed that the relationship between Malcolm and Cecily was very toxic.
He was violent. There were ongoing threats.
They used to argue, you know what I mean? Not a healthy relationship at all.
Cecily's brother is also able to shed more light on the time Malcolm was arrested for domestic violence.
He said Malcolm tried to choke Cecily.
He got physical. He busted her car windows out.
At that point, he was the prime suspect.
But before they wrap up the interview, Cordero's cell phone buzzes.
Can I look on my phone?
Yeah, sure. The brother received a text message during his interview.
Look at this.
The messages are from a man named Omar Perez. He was an employee at the collection agency that their family owned.
The dude who used to work for us before our business got shut down.
Has he been bothering you then?
Yeah, when the business shut down, he was really irritated.
He said Omar was furious about not receiving his last check, and he has held a grudge with the family ever since.
And based on his text, it sounds like he may have gotten revenge.
He just sent me this. God doesn't like the ugly. God says vengeance is mine.
Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Based on statements from Cecily Dickey's family, Woodridge, Illinois police believe that her ex-boyfriend, Malcolm Sanders, could be behind her murder.
Cecily was involved in a love triangle that involved Malcolm Sanders.
Malcolm had a history of criminal behavior, and he'd already tried to choke her once before.
But when Cecily's brother receives a threatening text message during his interview, another suspect is added to their list.
The text was from a disgruntled former employee of the Dickey's family business named Omar Perez.
Basically, the text messages read, God said, vengeance is mine.
Is it a confession?
Investigators take this text message as a big threat.
This was someone they had to look into.
I hate to say this, but we're probably going to have your phone too. There's evidence.
So after wrapping up their interview with Cordero, detectives set their sights on Omar.
It didn't take them too much to find an address on Omar, and as soon as they had one, they brought him in to the station for an interview.
Omar was pretty blunt about his feelings for the Dickey family.
They're all liars and crooks.
He tells detectives that he's worked for the family for about 5 years.
Omar says his employment was cut short when the Dickey's business was raided by the FBI and forced to close.
He claimed it was embezzlement to the tune of $2 to $3 million.
At this point, the Dickey family owed him about 4 weeks of back pay.
I worked for it, and they need to pay me my money.
He did not hide his hatred for the Dickey family at all.
However, when detectives ask about Cecily in particular, Omar doesn't have much to say.
Detectives asked Omar what his relationship was with Cecily, and he admitted that he really didn't have one with her.
I like seeing her around the office, you know?
Did you work close together?
Not really.
Could she simply have been the easiest target for his revenge?
At a certain point, detectives laid their cards on the table. We know about the text you sent Cecily's brother. Did you kill his sister?
Hold up. I had nothing to do with that.
Then what was that text about?
I said I had nothing to do with that. Doesn't mean I didn't feel a little vindicated.
Omar does see how it could have looked a little suspect, but he had an alibi.
According to Omar, he had custody of his kids the entire weekend.
He said that Saturday they went out to eat, then played video games the rest of the night. And then on Sunday, they were at a family party the whole day.
And when detectives follow up with Omar's family, his story checks out.
There was no way that he could have killed Cecily.
With Omar eliminated as a suspect, detectives move on to the next name on their list, Malcolm Sanders.
He had a a long history with Cecily, including a domestic violence charge.
Investigators asked Malcolm to come in for an interview.
When he arrives at the station the following morning, Malcolm says he's already heard about what happened to Cecily. But he denies being involved.
He admitted that their relationship was rocky, but he said he was more than 6 hours away in Ohio.
Where was he staying around Ohio? I was staying with a girl.
He said that he had spent the entire weekend visiting this long-distance girlfriend.
Go anywhere, do anything. I went to the casino.
Malcolm's alibi was that he was at a casino in Ohio.
He insisted that the surveillance footage would definitely show where he was at the time of the murder.
Detectives' first order of business now becomes tracking down that footage. But before they end the interview, Malcolm says there's something he needs to tell them.
He tells investigators he knows exactly who's responsible for this crime.
I knew about this guy.
Which guy?
London. He's crazy and possessive.
He said that actually Cecily was afraid of him.
He also claims that despite pretending to be the perfect boyfriend, London Luckett is actually a violent criminal.
He knew of London's past records and that he actually served time for a murder case.
He got out or something early.
And through a mutual friend, Malcolm says he had recently learned something alarming about the night Cecily stopped answering her phone.
She's with London on Friday.
If that is true, then he was the last person to see her alive.
Detectives continue to investigate to determine what transpired that night and what happened to Cecily Dickey. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Detectives investigating the murder of Cecily Dickey thought they had her killer in custody, Malcolm Sanders.
They had an ugly history, and Cecily wanted to break things off.
But now Malcolm has pointed the finger at the other man in Cecily's life, London Luckett.
Malcolm definitely suspected that he was very dangerous.
He said the last person who was supposed to be with Cecily was London.
To find out if he's telling the truth, detectives start by looking into his alibi.
Malcolm said he spent majority of Saturday at a Columbus casino. Investigators were able to obtain the security footage.
And when they review it, Malcolm's story holds up.
He was at a casino in Ohio.
There's no way that Malcolm could have killed Cecily.
Which raises another question for the investigation.
With Malcolm's story checking out, could the rest of what Malcolm told them be true?
One of his most surprising claims was that London had served time in prison on murder charges.
After doing a background check, investigators were very shocked at what they found.
London had an extraordinarily checkered history of criminal involvement.
In fact, London's criminal history went back to his juvenile record.
He was involved in gang activity. He had been involved in gun offenses, suspected of firing a weapon at a high school.
He was found responsible for some sort of sex offense and was then required to register as a sex offender.
In 2009, London was actually arrested in connection to a murder.
The victim of the killing was an 18-year-old girl from Kokomo, Indiana, named Abby Rethlake.
London tried to do a drive-by on someone else that was in Abby's car. And instead of hitting the intended target, he ended up killing Abby.
Despite being the suspected triggerman, London struck a deal with the prosecution.
They needed to secure his testimony to secure conviction against other individuals involved in that murder.
London testified and got a lighter sentence for his involvement.
They ended up giving him only 15 years in prison, and then he was released in May of 2015.
Following his release, London returned to his hometown of Chicago.
When London got out of prison, he resumed his relationship with Cecily.
In Cecily's case, she certainly knew of his criminal history. She knew all of these things.
But they tell me what I need to hear. Maybe they're going to change. It shows you never truly know who a person is. No matter how much they try to show you that, oh, you can trust me, you're safe with me.
But based on what they've just learned, detectives believe Cecily was anything but safe with London.
He moved to the top of their suspect list.
But tracking him down proves easier said than done.
London wasn't responding to any phone calls, and even after looking at his normal places, he hadn't been there for a while.
As a bolo is broadcast to law enforcement across the Chicago area, homicide detectives stay focused on building their case.
If London did this, they still needed the evidence to prove it.
And when they receive Cecily's cell phone records, detectives find more proof that Malcolm was telling the truth.
Her text messages confirmed what he said about her spending that Friday night with London.
The records also show that Cecily's phone was turned off or destroyed sometime early Saturday morning.
At a certain point, there's no more pings with Cecily's phone. So they knew her time of death would have been somewhere in the early morning hours of that Saturday.
Which meant detectives were most likely on the right track.
London was the only person known to be with Cecily during the window of when Cecily would have been murdered.
But it's Cecily's bank records that reveal the most damning evidence of all.
Her bank statement showed that someone was using Cecily's debit card at gas stations and convenience stores in Chicago.
Investigators then followed up and collected surveillance video from those stores and those locations where Cecily's card was used. What we saw on the surveillance videos was London, who was using Cecily's debit card.
The suspense, the secrets, and the deceit. Stay with us as we unravel the truth on the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Detectives in Woodridge, Illinois have identified London Luckett in surveillance video that appears to confirm their suspicions that he's responsible for the murder of Cecily Dickey.
The security footage shows London pulling up to a gas station in Cecily's car and then using the stolen card to get money out of the ATM.
There was no good way to explain that.
And now, London's on the run.
Nobody had seen him. He wasn't returning any of their calls, and they couldn't find him.
But detectives pull out all the stops.
Cell phones can be tracked, vehicles can be tracked.
When they ping London's cell phone, they get a hit on the north side of Chicago.
Chicago PD steps into gear.
Well, he's turning left now.
They spotted the car on a side street, and when they pulled it over, London tried to run.
After a brief pursuit, London ends up crashing the car.
Forced to stop, London still refuses to give himself up.
Get out of the car!
Police have to physically remove London from the vehicle. At this point, he's taken back to Chicago Police District.
There, he's booked on charges stemming from the stolen debit card and vehicle. But they want a confession to make the murder charge stick.
When they brought him in for his interview, he denied having anything to do with Cecily's murder.
So what happened? I don't know. Didn't nobody tell me. It's my Cecily.
He gives a very fake and contrived response, as if he's learning it for the first time.
He tells them that the last time he saw her was Saturday morning when he left her apartment, and he claims he doesn't know what happened after he left.
It's clear London isn't going to give up a confession. But in the end, detectives won't need one.
Evidence technicians did have a latent print that was found on one of the Clorox bottles. That latent print matched to being consistent with London Luckett's fingerprint. Additionally, DNA evidence corroborated a profile from Cecily's fingernails that was consistent with DNA profile of London Luckett.
That placed him at the crime scene. It was all the proof they needed.
So before heading to trial, detectives give London one more chance to come clean.
Now investigators are bringing in all the facts and the proof to show London, and eventually he lets them know that he wants to tell his side of the story.
London says that on the night of October 16th, he'd gone over to Cecily's apartment.
Cheers.
Cheers.
They were supposed to be having this romantic evening together.
But he said that Cecily kept constantly texting somebody. And when he eventually snatched the phone from her, he realized she'd been texting Malcolm this whole time.
I'm like, man, I know you ain't texting dude when I'm right here. You know what I mean?
In his mind, how dare Cecily text the other guy while she's supposed to be paying attention to him?
I say, okay, look, I know you're still dealing with dude. I ain't up about that. But don't lie to me about it.
Man, how you gonna disrespect me like this?
What do you mean
I'm tired of this, man.
What do you mean?
They started arguing, and it went from a verbal fight to a physical fight very fast.
She grabbed one of the knives out the kitchen. We wrestled, I grabbed a knife out of her hand. So now I'm enraged.
At this point, Cecily is completely trapped.
London, please put down the knife, please. Please.
He stabs her once. And the first stab wasn't enough for the rage he said he was feeling, so he stabbed her again.
He just begins to stab her over and over and over again.
It's about all of this anger and suppressed emotions that were lying dormant, and it was just waiting for an opportunity.
Don't you know, like, when you finally get to that punching bag and you just punch it that one time, you like, you just keep punching it. That's the type of anger that I felt.
We're talking about this physiological release in his body of all of these suppressed emotions.
Even with Cecily on the brink of death, he says he couldn't stop.
London stabs Cecily for the final time in her groin.
I was so mad. I know what she was doing, man. And I shoved the knife in between her legs, man.
He wanted her to feel the pain that he felt.
In his mind, he felt justified.
Even with his taped confession, London stands before a jury to plead his case.
He had already told them that he did it. I know it appears logical that he would not then try to fight the charges in court, but he didn't want to plead guilty.
So in court, London's defense tries to blame Cecily for what happened that night.
the defense was trying to make the case a self-defense case, that Cecily grabbed the knife first, and it was only after Cecily grabbed the knife that London took the knife and used it against her.